Phaedra. I'm the artist and astrologer of Mystick, Physick, Astrology. And most of you who are on right now know me, but I use Western Sidereal Astrology in my practice, and the idea is to help you reconnect with your soul purpose and remember why you came. And as I was saying, my aim is always to provide guidance on how we can use, like consciously use, the energy of the transiting planets to affect our lives in a positive way. And that includes using the new and full moon lunations with intention. To set intentions around what we want to create and bring into our lives, and also to release and move beyond whatever's not serving us any longer. Okay? And so with the new moon in Taurus, what we'll be doing with this live stream is digging into how to recognize the Taurus archetype and themes that are most relevant to you personally. We're going to work through discovering the best way for you to use this particular new moon based on your natal placements. And then we're going to set intentions for tapping into the new moon energy. And so thanks for joining me while we kind of explore the Taurus themes. Mostly we're going to focus on things like personal value and self-worth and some related ideas. We're going to explore why gratitude and appreciation are so important to manifesting what it is you want. And we're going to set specific intentions for tapping into the new moon in Taurus energy so that you can manifest greater abundance and security in your life, which is the idea, right? That's the whole idea. So grab your pen and paper, your chart. If you need it, in the description above or below, depending on where you're watching the video, there is a link to the chart calculator. But let's dive in. So the new moon is exact at 27 degrees 44 minutes sidereal Taurus, and that's using the Fagan-Bradley zodiac. Some folks I know use the Fagan-Allen zodiac, and they are quite similar, but the moon's nodes and some other points can be slightly different between those two. But if you have software that uses Fagan-Allen as opposed to Fagan-Bradley, that works too. At least for the planets right now. Okay. But it was exact at 6:43 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So a couple hours ago, we are just kind of in that fresh new moon energy. And what we'll do is we'll set our intentions tonight. We'll do our visualization around those intentions, including some kind of emotional work. And this is to kind of give your manifesting like a little oomph, right? And then after we're done with that, and I think the visualization part is really, really important, I want you to be thinking about an affirmation that you can use. But let's dive in first and talk about what house and the themes of which house this is falling for each of us individually by rising sign. If you have Aries rising, as I was saying, it's a second house new moon for you, which has to do with earned income and possessions. This is the natural home of Taurus, right? So this lines up very perfectly for this evening's practice for you. But it has to do with wealth and possessions, movable assets. It's not money that comes to you through other people, right? That's eighth house money. It's not investment income. It's money that comes to you through your salary, through your wages, through your business dealings. It's money that comes to you through things that you own that you sell, except not real estate, right? Or investments. Ooh, Jonna, cool. Conjunct your Venus. That is perfect because Venus, of course, is going to be the ruler of this new moon. You have to go deal with bedtime, but you'll be in and out of here. That is just fine. That's just fine. No problem. So as I was saying, wealth, possessions, movable assets, things like that. Also has to do with expenses. So keep that in mind. So money that you pay out in exchange for things of value. Okay. And then it's also intimately tied to our self-worth and our own personal value system. Taurus rising, this is going to be a first house new moon for you, which is kind of cool. It's your birthday new moon. And so what's awesome about that is you get to use it any way you want. You're not limited to, you know, however it manifests according to the themes of the house it falls in your natal chart. It basically offers you unlimited potential, the new moon that falls during your birth month. And by birth month, I mean the sign that you were born under according to the sidereal zodiac. But the first house governs personality, right? It governs our identity and our self-expression. It also can describe the physical body and our appearance. So if you're wanting to make changes, especially new beneficial changes to affect your physical body and your appearance, the new moon in your first house is a wonderful time to do that. There's also a new opportunity to consider taking on a new form of self-expression if you're looking at exploring a new form of self-expression, and also for exploring new roles in the world and in your life, okay? For Gemini, though, this is a 12th house new moon, so that's privacy, seclusion, spirituality, unconscious mind. Also has to do with like solo projects, so projects that you work on alone by yourself, or that you might work on like behind closed doors, like privately, rather than in full view of the world, okay? Also has to do with spiritual practices and any involvement that you have with institutions of seclusion. And so by institutions, we mean things like nursing homes, prisons and correctional facilities, hospitals, any kind of residential facility where someone goes and lives there. It can include schools. And so if you do work with institutions, or if you have something coming up around institutional themes, if you have a Gemini rising, that's also a possibility for this new moon. Cancer, it's 11th house. So friends, organizations, hopes, and dreams. So this is a great opportunity to make an initiation towards a hope or dream that you'd like to manifest in your life, okay? For Leo, it's 10th house. So career, awards, recognition, fame. It also has to do with status and achievement and your reputation for good or ill, okay? Virgo, a 9th house new moon. So this is higher education, long distance travel. It also has to do with long distance communication. So things like publishing and broadcasting, but also keep in mind that publishing and broadcasting can include large audiences. So not just long distance transmissions, but like global and worldwide audiences, right? Also religion, philosophy, law, immigration, things like that. Higher education, I think we mentioned that. And then for Libra, this is an 8th house new moon. So that's where we get into other people's resources, the money that comes to you through a partner if you have one, money that you earn through bonus or commission income, also has to do with insurance and taxes. That can be money that comes to you or money that you owe. It does include debts and loans as well, okay? But the 8th house also includes some more metaphysical themes, more like the occult, death, rebirth, transformation, and psychological themes. So if you're doing some personal development on the psychological front, this is an opportunity for you, Libra rising, okay? Scorpio is 7th house, so partnership, marriage, business, relationships with others in general. And then also it can speak to, and this is the descendant specifically, it can speak to what we reject about ourselves or what we project onto other people in our lives, okay? And then for Sagittarius rising, this is a 6th house new moon for you. So work, health, pets, daily routines, your habits, basically, your work-a-day schedule. And then for Capricorn, it's 5th house. So creativity, children, true love, also pleasurable activities, hobbies, sports, and risk-taking and gambling also fall under the 5th house. For Aquarius, this is a 4th house new moon. So that's home, family, real estate. It can be one or both parents, and it also describes the later life. And then for Pisces, finally, this is a 3rd house new moon, and that's transportation and writing, communication, local travel, short distance travel, basically. Childhood education can fall under the 3rd house, as well as your siblings and neighbors, your extended family, and your immediate environment, which is like your neighborhood and your community, okay? Or wherever you find yourself, basically. It can describe wherever you find yourself in that sense. So if you're joining us late or just coming back on the broadcast and you need me to recap what house this is falling in for you by rising sign, just let me know in the comments what your sidereal rising sign is, and I'll recap that for you. And then we'll talk a little bit now about Taurus archetypes. So Taurus is fixed earth, okay? We want to talk about modality. between the triplicities and the quadruplicities, he's a fixed sign. So he gets a bad rap for kind of being stubborn in that sense. And Earth is a very stable energy as well, not as active and energetic as a fire sign, right? And not as active mentally even necessarily as an air sign, right? Is symbolized by the bull, the sign of the bull. Taurus represents the archetype of the builder or the banker, also the nature lover and the hedonist. So these are themes that are very much informed by the ruling planet here, Venus, okay, which has to do with value in business. Of course, Venus rules money. Of course, the banker would be a natural archetype for Taurus in that sense. Taurus also is the archetype of the musician, okay? So that speaks to Venus's harmonious nature, right? As far as keywords and themes, I won't necessarily touch on all of them tonight because we're going to kind of focus on intention setting, which is about bringing new in, right? What we want to experience that we're not experiencing yet. So I'd like to focus more on those themes and keywords of Taurus rather than the keywords, the more negative keywords related to his less favorable expression. That's what we would deal with more at the full moon when we're ready to move past things. But Taurus can be materialistic. It's a very sensual sign, right? And when we say sensual, we're talking about what we take in through our senses. So sight, smell, taste, touch, hearing. So it's very much about the five senses and how they interact with the physical world and the enjoyment that we take in through those senses, right? So Taurus can be kind of indulgent in that way, right? And kind of hedonistic, which, you know, that's kind of fun sometimes, right? Taurus as a sign energy, this is a very patient and loyal and enduring energy. It can be very tranquil and very serene. And the risk there is that too much stillness can kind of choke off our growth a little bit. And we don't want to do that. We want to continue to grow and build in that way. Taurus is also, it's a very affectionate energy and a very abundant energy. And so especially the abundance part is what I want to tie back in a little bit later when we get into our prompts. But as part of the Taurus-Scorpio 2nd and 8th house axis, he speaks to those personal values we were talking about. He speaks to our sense of self-worth. Taurus is about security seeking, comfort seeking, right? Discomfort is what leads us to growth, and too much security seeking can lead to that kind of stagnation like we were talking about. So you want to be aware of getting too comfortable, and you especially want to be aware of getting too comfortable in the area of life that Taurus rules in your natal chart. So this is something to just kind of be cognizant of, because where Taurus lands in our chart is where we're most likely to encounter that getting too comfortable piece, okay? So beware of boredom. Taurus, like I was saying, because he's sensual, needs to have, Taurus is where we need to have our senses stimulated, okay? But seeking stimulation out of boredom isn't always healthy, okay? So just be cognizant of your own behavior around that and what causes you to want to seek stimulation. And is that something that you tend to do out of boredom, okay? But appreciation and gratitude are very much tied to Taurus themes and second house themes. Themes around self-worth, themes around what we manifest into our lives abundantly, right? And appreciation and gratitude can open you up to manifesting what you desire even faster by putting you in the emotional state of having already received it, okay? And that's part of what I want you to practice tonight as we get into setting our intentions. So with your intention, I want you to consider Whatever it is you're wanting to manifest in your life, or begin or start, if you're making an initiation on a project or something, I want you to consider, how will that reinforce or reflect your values? How will it help you or allow you to live your values in the manifesting of it? Are there new values that are coming into your life, things that you're learning to appreciate, that you can honor with this new moon? Are there ideas that you need to challenge around your own self-worth? This can be a big one for a lot of us, right? Can you see your values or your own personal self-worth, or yourself? Can you see yourself in a new light? What new ways can you begin to honor your own contributions? Keeping in mind that as the natural ruler of the second house, Taurus reflects the energy that we receive in exchange for what we give out into the world, right? It's a trade-off of that energy. And so the question there is, are you honoring your own contributions to the world? Are you valuing them to the degree that they're valuable, or are you under or overvaluing them? Usually we undervalue, right? Are there new ways that you can begin to honor your own contributions to the world? Are there new beliefs about your own value that you can invite into your life? Perhaps, see, for instance, I'm in another coaching group, and we've been talking about manifesting abundance, and one of the things that we've been doing is talking about book, and now I'm drawing a blank because this is totally anecdotal. Jonna, if you are back on, you might remember because you're in that group with me. It's Gabrielle Bernstein's book. Gabby Bernstein. What is it called? If anybody knows Gabby Bernstein, if you say the title, I would know it, and I'm totally drawing a blank on it. But part of what we were talking about around what she has to say in that book is about honoring yourself and honoring your own contributions, and believing in your own value. And I think that is totally relevant and totally key to a new moon in Taurus. And I would encourage you, if you have someone in your life like that you admire, whose teachings you follow, especially if they're teaching about abundance or manifestation or self-worth, is there a value that they embody in their own life around that self-worth and honoring their own contributions? Is there a value that they embody that you would like to invite into your own life and begin to embody for yourself? And if there is someone like that in your life that you follow, I would invite you to do an intention setting around that this evening, around developing and adding to your own value and your own sense of self-worth, if that makes sense. So what we want to do is kind of look at what intention do we want to set tonight, and write it out on our piece of paper. Take a few minutes to write it down and kind of create maybe an affirmation, even just like a one-sentence affirmation around it. I do recommend, so if you bought a big enough piece of paper to draw on, I do recommend spend some time visualizing what it is you want to manifest. Visualize the end result, being as specific as you can, and then draw that out, because what that can do is help with the manifesting. It can help it happen faster. It gives it more momentum in the moment. A judgment detox. Yeah, you can definitely do that, like almost like a clean slate detox around that. That might be a good way to approach the new moon. That's also something too that you could consider doing at like a full moon releasing too, especially around releasing judgment. So keep that in mind. That might be something for us to talk about in a future full moon releasing live stream. Absolutely. But what I want you to do, write down your affirmation around what it is that you want to manifest. And as I was saying, be as specific as possible. That's okay, Danielle. It kind of had a bumpy start because there was a tech issue with the volume. The sound wasn't. Sorry about that. I had my accountability reminder go off in the middle of the broadcast. Oops. But write down what you want to manifest in as much detail as possible. Draw it out in as much detail as possible. And visualize it as if you're living it right this moment. Okay, don't visualize it as if it's in the future. Visualize it as if you're experiencing it right now at this exact moment in your life. And call up in your body the way that it would make you feel to have what you want in this exact moment. Okay? And make gratitude and appreciation part of that feeling. Because as we were saying earlier, that gratitude and appreciation opens you up to manifest what you want even faster by putting you in the state of having already received it. Okay? So those are some things I want you to try out as you're setting your intentions this evening. So grab your pen and paper. I'm going to recap these prompts really quick, especially for those of you who are just joining us. So consider with what it is you want to manifest, whatever intention you're setting for tonight's new moon in Taurus, how will manifesting this reinforce or reflect your values? How will it help you live your values in the manifesting of it? What new values can you honor or adopt into your life? What ideas do you need to challenge around your own self-worth? Big one. How can you see yourself in a new light and begin to appreciate yourself more? What new ways can you begin to honor your own contributions to the world? And what new beliefs about your own value can you invite in? Okay, so write down what it is you would like to manifest, your intention around that, and be specific, like I said, about the outcome. And then spend a few moments writing an affirmation around that, if you would. And the part that I would like to really share when we come back, if you want to share what it is your intention, what you're setting for your intention this evening, that's wonderful. I would invite you to do that. I especially invite you to share your affirmation if you're comfortable doing that. That can be a fun way to trade ideas for personal affirmations. But write down your intentions, what you want to manifest, be as specific as you can. And we will come back to the sharing part. And I'm going to read for you here. All my note papers fall out because I shove them in the front cover. In the Moon Gazing Journal, what it says on today's page. So it says here, excuse me, it's hot. And I don't have the ceiling fan on. And I didn't shut the window in case of traffic noise. I apologize for that. It says, to remove a wart, sit under an ash tree at the full moon, rub the wart against the ash and say, ash tree, pray by this wart of me. Make sure you leave a gift of ginger or milk at the base of the tree. And that is from Folklore. Kind of fun, huh? I've not tried it. I wouldn't know if it works. Kind of interesting, though, the things that come down through history to us. Okay, so grab your pen and paper. Let's spend a few minutes writing down our intentions about what we want to manifest. I'm going to get some paper for drawing it out. Here we go. No affirmation, but I think I have an intention here. So let's talk about our intentions. Mine is a 12th house. I was prepared to think about 12th house practices tonight, so it was a little bit challenging. Danielle says, I need to value strength and honor my needs. Yes, 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 yes. Like putting on an oxygen mask to you first before others. Absolutely, to help them. You can't help unless you value strength in you. And that is absolutely correct. You can't pour from an empty cup, as the saying goes, Danielle, right? That can be a tough lesson to learn, especially for parents, because we get so used to being the provider, right? We get so used to being in parent mode and being responsible for taking care of all the details and taking care of everything, that it's easy to forget to take care of ourselves. And you do have to stop and replenish that, and that starts with valuing yourself. You do have to make time to value yourself. So Danielle, I hope that with your intention setting tonight, you got specific about at least one way that you can begin doing that. That's kind of similar to how I'm thinking I want to take this one myself. So for me, this is a 12th house new moon, like I was saying, and I was just looking at it. Actually, I got to clip back to my tab for the video here. I am enrolled in Udemy, I don't know how you say it, Udemy course. It's a Kundalini yoga course, a video course. And Kundalini yoga is very much it's a lot of mantra and chanting. It's a lot of breathing exercise and breath work. And I've had this for 2 years easily. I've probably started it 3 different times, and I've never fully completed the program. And I think there's 5 different video tutorials as part of the course, and you're supposed to, do all 5. And ideally, you're going to do each practice, I believe, for like a 40-day cycle, right? And I've never done that. I've never even made it through 40 days with the first one, because I tend to do the same thing. I tend to put time for myself on the back burner and take care of all the other responsibilities and obligations that come up first. And it's just kind of the way I'm wired. I got that Capricorn sun going on. And so to me, the focus is always responsibility, responsibility, responsibility. So it's a hard habit to break, but it's a necessary one, because it's not healthy to be so focused that you lose sight of self-care, right? And that's interesting that self-care can be reflective of how much we value ourselves. And so I'm setting my intention around that I intend to make space in my life for sacred spiritual practices and self-reflection. I've been a lot better lately about, and this is something that I've been wanting to work on. I know you guys have heard me talk about this before in past live streams. I've been better lately about meditating. Have I done it every day? No, but I've done it a lot more frequently in the past couple of months than I have in the past, year and a half or 2 years. And I used to meditate every day. And so part of what I'd like to do with this new moon is just kind of double down on that, right? Because that's a 12th house practice. And then I also wrote that I intend to complete, and I'm putting this as an accountability thing for me, guys. You can, I'm on the hook for this. You can call me out on this if I don't make good. I intend to complete my Kundalini yoga course fully, right? No trip ups, because on a 40-day practice, if you miss a day, you're supposed to start over again, right? By practicing every day, no exceptions. And it's not like, it doesn't take that long to go through these videos. They're maybe like 10, 15 minutes tops. It's not that much of a time commitment, but it's about committing to myself to do it, right? And so, but I intend to complete my Kundalini yoga course fully by practicing every day and by memorizing the associated mantras, because that's part of what the courses teach, are some of the mantra that you use in Kundalini yoga. And so that's where I really want to focus. Now, typically when we do our intention setting, what we have you do is the day before, the day of, or the day after, right around that lunation, when it's the most powerful, is when you do your intention setting and your visualizing, right? And then about 2 days after, at the first light of the waxing moon, that's when you take the first action. That's when that first action is what plants the seed, right? So you want to plant that seed by taking the first action at the first light of the new moon, provided that transits are supportive of that, right? Because if it's not strong transits, maybe you don't want to do that. But that's the idea behind using new moon intention setting, lunation energy, right? So herein, take your first step towards whatever intention you're setting for yourself. I'd really like to, and I didn't write anything around this. I think I'll spend probably a little more time with it later. I'd like to start a new painting, and for me that would kind of be a solo project. And so I got to think about, I really would like to do that, but I would have to really carve out some dedicated time to actually make that happen. So I sit down and think how bad, that's a major commitment. So I probably won't spend time with that on the live stream. But here's my silly drawing. If you drew out I'd love to see, you can take a photo and post it in the comments. I don't think you can post a picture in the comments on a live stream while it's live. But once it's ended and posted, you can post a picture in the comments. But this is my silly drawing of me meditating, or doing my Kundalini yoga practice on the yoga mat, right? And I felt this urge to put a boundary around it. I don't know why. I felt this urge to just, maybe that makes it more real. But this is my commitment. So then what does this mean? This means that Friday morning, first thing I do is push play on the very first video in the series. And I do that every day for 40 days. Okay. So that's where we're at. That's my commitment. And I will put together a mantra, not a mantra, an affirmation for that. I was drawing a blank on an affirmation. If anyone has an affirmation that they've come up with tonight that they'd like to share, please do. I'm going to work on my affirmation. I probably will come back and share it in the comments once I put something together. But I think what I'm going to do is kind of go look at some other resources I have for inspiration. I think that's what I'll do with my affirmation. So if you have an affirmation to share, please do. If you want to share what you're setting intentions around, that's wonderful too. I want to double check and make sure I didn't miss any questions or comments from anyone who did join us live. And thank you all for joining me live. There was quite a few people on tonight. That was really awesome to see. I'm trying to think if there's any announcements or anything like that that I need to make while I have everyone on. And I don't... We can touch on a couple things. So the July overview and short reports is up on the website now. It's not yet public for everyone. That'll happen at the 1st of July. Right now you can access it and read it if you are a subscriber to the Sidereal monthly horoscopes, or if you have an annual subscription to get advanced access. You can read that right now. If you don't have a subscription and you want to sign up, you get the first 14 days free. It's like a free trial period. And then depending on whether you sign up for the annual or the monthly, the charge will come through at either $4.99 if you're paying monthly, or I can't remember, guys. This is silly. I can't remember if it's $49 or $49.99 for the annual. It's cheaper for the annual. It gets you like 2 extra months free, basically, if you pay annually to get advanced access. I am working on right now the full horoscopes by sign for July, which is farther ahead of schedule than I've managed to be for the last couple of months. I'm really excited about that. So watch for those. They're coming. Ideally, I would want them published by the end of this week. And I say that because next week is my 20th wedding anniversary and I want to take the whole week off. I want a vacation. We're gunning for that. But I don't want to do that unless and until I have July up on the website. So that's the fire under my butt right now. I am not too far away from hitting publish on a blog post about Mars retrograde. We've got Mars retrograding coming up next month. There's some specific things you might want to know about Mars retrograde. And so I put together a blog post that kind of goes into that, things you want to do, things you want to not do just kind of some bits of advice around Mars retrograde, and then a little bit more specifically about this Mars retrograde, because this Mars retrograde is happening in Capricorn. Okay, so that will be published here in the next day or so. Watch for that. I'll probably send out an email to the mailing list when that is published. But I wanted to put that together for you as a reference on the website if you want to learn more about Mars retrograde, like I said, which is coming up next month. Carol says, sorry I'm late, but I'm not feeling good. I'm off now, hoping to catch the rest in the morning. You are very welcome, Carol, and I am terribly saddened to hear about the health struggles you've been having. I do hope that you are feeling better and that those doctors nail down some kind of treatment that is going to work for you and stick for you so you don't keep having recurrences of that. Take care of yourself, rest up, just practice self-care, Carol. You can always catch the replay. Danielle says, happy anniversary. Ours is 6/27, 20 years. Congratulations, Danielle. Mine is the 21st. We got married on Midsummer's Day. It's kind of fun. Happened to be Father's Day, the exact year that we got married. So my dad got to give me away for Father's Day. I don't know if that was fun for him or not. Anyway, I'm trying to think anything else. So Mars retrograde blog post coming up. July horoscopes coming very soon. We've got Monday, we've got coming up another Sidereal Insights Astro update. I think that's the only other thing, unless you missed the last Astro update. You might not have seen that I announced that we now have the astrology dice sets that we were talking about back in January. They're available on the website for purchase. You can buy these. I think it's $7.99 for the set of 3 dice in a little bag. And I think it's like $2.99 for shipping. I don't remember what I said. Anyway, but these are really cool. They're great for if you like to practice interpreting. So for instance, like if you're just trying to bone up on your interpretation skills using the super simple astrological interpretation generator that I wrote up that comes with the keywords and like kind of that basic idea for how you construct what's called the 7 keyword sentence. So you could use these to roll out and kind of create those keyword sentences and practice putting them together. Or another way that I think these are interesting to use is if you like to do intuitive reading. Say, you know, like folks do with different types of intuitive reading cards like angel cards or tarot cards or whatever. Like you could think of a question or whatever and roll them out almost like horary astrology. So kind of a fun little thing to use these for. I have, I don't know, I think I have like 12 sets of them left. So if you want one, holler and I'll get one sent off to you. But they're kind of neat, a little fun. Kind of a silly thing. Thanks everyone for joining me. If you have questions or if you have comments, let me know on the comments on the broadcast. I will keep an eye on them and I'll come back and answer any questions that you have. And I will update you here very shortly about the July horoscopes on the website. And that way, if you do want to take advantage of that free trial and read all of July ahead of time, you'll be able to do that. If you need me, holler. Carol, I know you jumped off, but you're going to watch the replay tomorrow. I have not yet looked at your question, but I hope to be able to do that here in the next couple of days and maybe follow up with you about that health question that you had. Danielle says, I'm praying for you, Carol. Thank you, Danielle. And if anyone else would like to do that, we would appreciate it. Not been a lot of fun for Carol lately, and it's kind of heartbreaking to see. And thanks everyone for joining me. I'd love to have you here. I feel so blessed that you all join me on these broadcasts, and we'll talk again soon. And just stay in touch. It should be more active in the group here pretty soon because we've got some more content and blog posts going up on the blog. So stay tuned for those, and we'll talk again soon.